I learned that the Native Americans were the first footbag players on this continent. In my studies and in my world travels, I've seen that footbag has come from every continent. It's almost like an archetype of sorts. You know, it's just one of those innate games that humans play with.
What we're living in, let me tell ya.
So the idea for this film came about because I myself was quite an active freestyle footbag player in the early 2000s, and a few years ago I picked up the bag again, decided to come back to the sport, and I was kind of surprised to see that it was basically the same players from 20 years ago, not a lot of new faces. And I just think that freestyle footbag is such a unique and dynamic sport that it really deserves to be documented. So with very little experience in filmmaking, I embarked on a road trip through the Pacific Northwest of the United States and interviewed as many players as I could find from what's called the Big Add Posse, or BAP. So basically in freestyle footbag, each trick is scored on a point system, and those points are referred to as adds. So at the end of every year's World Footbag Championships, one or a few of the best players in the world are inducted into the Big Add Posse. So in the words of the original generation of BAP and the players that really created the sport, this is the story of freestyle footbag.
I saw it on television. It was a show called Sunday Morning, and I remember seeing the game shown on that TV show. It was in maybe 10 o'clock in the morning. I ran upstairs and told my mom, like, this game called Hacky Sack, and I've got to have one. Like the first time I saw it, I had to have one, and you know, I was obsessed with it before I ever had one. And it was the you know, I could tell which present was under the Christmas tree that was like, that's got to be the Hacky Sack. So I opened that first thing and just got after it and was obsessed with it.
Footbag's been around for over 50 years now. It was started in 1972. I call that the founder generation, you know, like John Stahlberger, Mike Marshall, Ted Huff, and they all heavily promoted footbag in North America. And then in the 1980s, Johnny sold it to Whammo, and that's when footbag really hit its fad stage, where everyone knew what Hacky Sack was. Now that's the brand name, the name of the sport is footbag, but everyone knew what it was during that time frame. Freestyle footbag is a form of footbag where you actually do, instead of just kicking it, you do combinations with the footbag, combinations of tricks.
The first few years, freestyle was consecutive kicks. In the very earliest days, there was no such thing as like freestyle, with, you know, like actual tricks in a judged event and timed and things like that. Consecutive kicks was freestyle for the first maybe 2 years, and then I think it was probably like 82 when there was actually like freestyle as an event with judges and music and things like that.
In the beginning, freestyle itself was really primitive. You know, there was nothing like today's freestyle. There were some tricks, but there was not combinations of tricks. And most tricks were done off kicks rather than stalls or delays. And so you'd be kicking a bag, and then you'd kick something and maybe go around it with your foot and kick it again. There was very few stalls, no combinations of tricks, very flowy, very just, you know, kick, 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 trick, kick, 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 trick. Not a lot of action.
One of the early tricks was a stall, like, you know, catching the ball on your foot, which in those days the hacky sack was not very soft, and so stalling one of those early hacky sacks was quite hard, just to, you know, just to stop it.
One of the most important aspects to any sport is having the right equipment, and of course, you know, when I first started playing, the shoe of choice for the longest time was the Adidas Rod Laver. pretty much everyone wore that shoe. There was a handful of people that switched out different things here and there, and there was, you know, special lacing and everything to increase the size of the toe box. But, you know, it's back in the day when the instructional video was Tricks of the Trade by Kenny Schultz, and he said, get yourself some rod lavers, and that made a huge difference in being able to progress in the sport.
When we were learning, you know, when flying clippers were first happening, you know, you'd spread that by word of mouth, right? If you showed up at a tournament, you could show some tricks. Kenny Schultz, you know, made the video Tricks of the Trade, and freestyle exploded when people could, like, teach themselves.
Schultz was the epicenter of the evolution of the game at the time. Then Rick Reese came along and really challenged him, and it was really cool.
Rick was the most gifted, talented athlete that's ever played footbag, and he, you know, he learned faster than anybody. He was, you know, just a spectacular, you know, specimen of a human athlete.
Kenny was a huge influence. Rip and Rick Reese was a huge influence. The way they attacked the bag, especially Kenny, was just insane. And the way that Rippin would just analytically approach a trick and try to do it. And then his style was just so pretty. But it was like sharp. I mean, there's no other way to put it, but Rippin was so sharp.
When I got into it, people had just crossed into what's called guiltless. And guiltless is when you do only 3-add tricks in your combinations of moves. Like in the 80s, they had kind of figured out the basic add system. It was like 1 add is, you know, you can do a stall, that's 1 add. You do an around the world stall, that's 2 adds, and so on. And then that just continued to advance until they decided that there was no reason to go back and do 2 adds in the combos. So it was just combinations of 3 adds and up, and that is called guiltless.
The truth is, we were kind of frowned upon in the beginning. Like, they didn't really like what we were doing. It was a different style. We weren't really participating in the competitive aspect more. It was more about the sidelines, and we would just do our own thing at a tournament. And it really became a small group of friends. There were 7 people who were doing what were the beginnings of modern freestyle. That was the original Big Add Posse. So it was really all Kenny. It was Kenny's idea to start linking tricks. It was really Kenny's idea to like really use the stall or the delay as the basis of what we were trying to do. And so I saw that pretty early, and I kind of jumped on that bandwagon immediately. I thought that was very cool. There was not very many people doing it. And those guys kind of took me aside, especially Rip and Rick Reese at that time when I showed up. Took me aside, and it really taught me the beginnings of that style.
When I was in college, there was a really strong freestyle frisbee scene going on there. And one of the philosophies that was kind of emerging in that scene in freestyle frisbee was the idea of they called it consecutiveness, which is basically kind of going from trick to trick. And they had a term for like an unrestricted delay of the disc. So basically just like catching it in front of you on your, you know, delaying it on your fingernail. They called it a the. And that to me was like, what if I didn't kick the bag in between tricks? What if those were those? What if I went trick to trick to trick to trick and never, you know, didn't put those kicks in between? And that, just adopting that philosophy, is just trying that, was this, you know, accelerant to the development of freestyle footbag.
My name's Scott Davidson, and I've been playing every day since I turned 40. That means that I am 5,977 days older than I was when I was 40. And I'm still playing every day. So it gives me something to look forward to every day. I think it keeps the mind fresh and the body young. And You know, it is a highly technical thing. It's hard to get people into it. So my message, I'd love to inspire more players. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to see the sport continue to grow and get bigger. But it's so technical. It's hard to get the right. It takes the right person to get really good at it. And there's no monetary value in it. Like you could be great at it and still not make any money at it. So you got to do it for the passion. So my message to kids is practice makes better. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm never going to be perfect. I like to think I'm getting better, but whatever it is you're passionate about, if it's piano or science or math, whatever, practice it.
When you chase a sport that you truly love, when it's not about the money and it becomes a battle of your mind and how you can physically push yourself to the limits of your capabilities, I just think that's the magic in footbag. Like, anyone can do the sport. All you need is a pair of shoes and a footbag. I mean, it's got to be one of the cheapest sports in the world where you don't need any special court. You can go out and practice on your own. And there's so many videos out there to watch how pros do certain tricks. All it takes is learn your basic kicks and then learn to do a toe stall. And every level that you get to is going to encourage you that much more.
My name is Ethan West. I got into footbag about a year ago. I've been into playing hacky sack like casually since like high school, but really picked it up, went down the rabbit hole of practicing tricks and everything about a year ago. I remember like I was up really late at night on YouTube and I just started searching up like hacky sack tricks, professional hacky sack, and I think I stumbled on Kenny Schultz Tricks of the Trade, and so I was watching that, and that was my first exposure to like how far you can take it, and seeing kind of the fundamental tricks really blew me away because I hadn't even seen like a toe stall before. So at that point, it just expanded my idea of like what footbag could look like. Something that I really love about footbag is that although it's a pretty niche sport, I've found that it's pretty universally appreciated. I think it's really cool that people from all different types of backgrounds can just see you really enjoying yourself, you know, doing tricks and kicking around, and then they want to be a part of that. And it's like such a positive experience, you know, getting everyone's moving their body, and I just love that it's loved by so many different kinds of people.
I think what I like most about footbag is just the community. It's really so hard sometimes to find someone that obsessive about something, that they would be that persistent and just spend years on something that's not necessarily bringing direct return on that time investment. Only from time perspective I could tell that how much it has given me in life in many ways. Just the persistence, but also the analytical mind, how to strategize about any goal, long term and short term. And also the community, the aspect that you're traveling around the world and meeting people from around the world, and realize that, yeah, there's just so much out there of you know, diversity and thought, and if you find people that are like-minded and so into it, that's just gold.
I feel like footbag speaks to a oneness, you know, the unity that I've experienced in the footbag circle in many different countries, many different races, many different languages is something that's universal, where I can just start throwing up a footbag or approach somebody and throw it up and people start kicking. And all of a sudden, we've got a collaborative effort which transcends race, gender, language, differences, and we're in a circle, almost representative of a, you know, unity of the world.
The whole philosophy of it is when it's all said and done, we all did it together, right? And that's really the beauty of it. And that's, you know, it's a good metaphor for life, you know?
Put a lot of time in a footbag, Had I become a professional skateboarder, I would have made a ton of money. You know, I could have been famous maybe. I could have been a little bit more of a cult figure than I am now. However, if you really do something because you love it without any kind of agenda, it will bring you where you need to be. This little beanbag has taken me around the world. It has introduced me to all the people that I've needed to meet to be where the universe wants me to be. You know, it's like, it has really guided my life to an extraordinary life. I would never have had the life that I have without Footbag. And it's because I just love it.
It's been a long time since I felt so sick. I took a long walk straight back home. I could have walked back to San Francisco. I used to long for time alone. I used to long for a place of my own. And I'm losing faith in everything. I'm lost, so lost, I'm lost at sea, you see. I used to long for broken bones. I used to long for a casket to call my own. I never had a problem facing fear, but I'm done over and out, my dear. And oh, mercy me, God bless catastrophe. But there's no way in hell we'll ever live to see through this. So drop yourself insane tonight. It's not that far away, and I just build up your tank earlier today. Yeah, it's been a long day living with this. It's been a long time since I felt so sick. I took a long walk straight back home. I could have walked back to Chicago. I used to long for time alone. I used to long for a place of my own. And I've lost faith in everything. I'm lost, so lost, I'm lost without you. Oh, mercy me, God bless catastrophe. But there's no way in hell we'll ever live to see through this. So drop yourself insane tonight. It's not that far away, and I just filled up your tank earlier today. Yeah. Hot summer nights that we shared together, above all the bars and the lights, you came in my heaven. And I'll never make someone feel that way again. I'll never make you feel that way again. Even just for pretend, it's like we'll never end. 'Cause I'll never make you feel that way again. Well, you just got rich and washed your hands of it, and I watched the fear take hold of your life. I'm not sure I tried hard enough. I'm not sure I tried it all. And I'll never make someone feel